One of the questions I'm asked quite often is, how important is daily practice? And the simple answer is very, very. Consistency is everything. It is better to do meditation practice of 20 minutes a day, every day, rather than doing 3 hours on a Saturday afternoon. We give ourselves the time to sit and to be in our own life, to recognize the thoughts, moods, feelings, and emotions that we're feeling all the time, that we're meeting all the time, are coming from us. They're not coming from outside, they're coming from us. This is a deep teaching that the world we experience is the one that we create for ourselves, moment after moment after moment. No one is doing it to us. No one really has any idea to hurt us or to be unkind to us. It's just what we feel often. So we look at those processes. And to do that, we need some consistency of effort. Otherwise, we're always starting, and then the energy for that falls away. And then we have to restart. So we have to find our energy again, and that falls away. Then we have to restart. Whereas when we have a consistency, then we're finding a level, even if it's just a daily practice. And then how we understand our practice is important also. We're not doing this to get that. We're not meditating to become calm and peaceful. That's not the point, at least not in Vipassana. Other traditions and other styles may have a different reason, but in Vipassana, what we're doing is simply sitting and being with the mind as it presents itself. And we're looking at the conditions for our stress or our anxiety, or even our happiness and our joy, but we're just looking at these different moments of mind that arise and pass away. And to each one, we can say the same thing. This is not me. It's not mine. It's not what I am. So we can relax. We can allow this procession of thoughts, moods, feelings, and emotions to arise and pass away and not be disturbed by them. Sometimes these thoughts, moods, feelings, and emotions are pleasant, and we can be with them peacefully and enjoy that pleasant sensation that we experience. But at the same time, some of these thoughts, moods, feelings, and emotions can be unpleasant. They can be difficult for us. But we can be with those also quite peacefully. We can allow them to arise and pass away. Again, that recognition of this is not me, it's not mine, it's not what I am. So we can relax. This idea of relaxing into our meditation is very important. It's not physically, but this idea of surrendering. The world that we experience is the one that we create for ourselves moment after moment. We're doing that. So if your world is an unpleasant place, stop doing that. Stop empowering this habitual train of unpleasant thoughts, of moods and feelings, and recognize that what you're experiencing is coming from you. No one is giving it to you. No one has the power to make you angry. No one has the power to irritate you. It just feels like that. Now, it's said that in Dhamma, there are really only two polarities, the one of love and the one of fear. And when we base our life in the one of fear, where we're trying to control everyone and everything, so life presents itself in a way that's comfortable for us, then we meet the opposite of that desire. Because we don't control life. Our control is minimal, to say the least. Beings are the way they are, that's their choice. And you are the way you are, and that's your choice. So how do you choose to be? I'm not speaking about negating or denying what you're feeling. In fact, the opposite. But to recognize what you're feeling is just a feeling. And then we have this feeling that needs a story to continue it. So we generate a story in the mind. And those two things become so identified with each other that we lose the sense of reality, that things are just arising and passing away. And so we cultivate this sense of self. I am. And that's really, of course, in the samsaric world, in the world out there, that's really strongly emphasized, isn't it? In our TV shows and our cinema and our publicity for shampoo and whatever else. It's all about me. It's all about me being the best or the worst, or the tallest or the shortest or the most attractive or the ugliest or whatever. But when we come to Dhamma, we see, well, they're just moments of mind arising and passing away. You're fine as you are. You're not broken. You don't need to be fixed. What you need to do for your own peace of mind is understand that whatever you're experiencing, whatever it is impermanent. The Buddha's teaching is based around 3 fundamental qualities of anicca, meaning it's usually translated as impermanence. And we say that things are impermanent. But even that statement conditions a misunderstanding in the mind. We say the mind changes, but that's not really it. The mind is change itself. It's not something that changes, it is change. We say that life changes. But again, that generates this misunderstanding. Life doesn't change. Life is change. And our difficulty in this fundamental truth is that we don't like it and we don't accept it, and we want things not to change very often. Or we want things to change faster or in a different way. Yes, I wanted things to be different, but not this way, but in that way. So we struggle with anicca until we understand it and we can surrender. Now, meditation is the cornerstone of our Dhamma life. To sit with this being that we call self, to sit quietly, to let the breath come in, let the breath go out, to let the thoughts arise, to see them, to know them, to recognize them, and not be controlled by them. They're just thoughts. The second truth that we have to harmonize with is anatta. Anatta, the emptiness of a permanent identity. There is nothing within this being that we call self that is not in this process of change. Therefore, there's nothing substantial that you can hold on to and say, that's me. There I am. Look, there, right there. At the subatomic level, the body is arising and passing away in every moment. At the mind level, the thoughts, moods, feelings, and emotions, everything is changing and moving all the time. When we look for a permanent entity that we can say me, or we can call self, we don't find anything. And the third truth is called dukkha, which means usually translated as suffering, but perhaps a better translation in my mind at least is unsatisfactory. Because everything is changing, because there isn't a permanent self, we meet an unsatisfactory experience with life, always trying to control and manipulate and organize everything so it fits us, it fits how we feel in this moment, because in the next moment maybe we feel something completely different. So in any case, life is always about this moment. But this moment is a completely new being sitting here, or standing here, or involved or related to another person. So in a world of this chaos, if we don't begin to understand it, then we're always spinning around on the periphery, looking for some peace, looking for some happiness, looking for some calm. If I just get that, then I'll be happy. And that's a common thought. If I just get that, if I just have this woman or this man in my life, then I'll be happy. If I just get a new job, then I'll be happy. If I just get a new car, then I'll be happy. If I just get a new house, then I'll be happy. If I just have a baby, then I'll be happy. If I just have a son, or if I just have a daughter, then I'll be happy. And happiness is real, but it's impermanent. It arises and passes away, and you know this. Of course you know this, because you're a human being living in the world. So to understand these things, we need commitment to practice. Not that we have to bow down to Buddha statues and burn incense and make child sacrifices. We don't have to do anything like that. What we have to do is a simple sitting practice to stop, to come home from your work, or to wake up in the morning, whatever fits your daily life and your family life. I mean, this is important, that your Dhamma practice supports your family life. But to make your time and to have the same time every day, as much as you're able. That we wake up in the morning and it's, I don't know, 6 o'clock, 6:30. Okay, now the first thing I need to do is to sit for half an hour. Let the breath come in, let the breath go out. Take a good posture. Sit up straight. Let the breath come in, let the breath go out. The thoughts arise. You see them, you know them. You let go of any identification with them as being who and what you are. They're just thoughts. They're just thoughts. So the day begins to plan out in front of you. You can be aware of that. You don't have to be lost in it. You can just be aware and then go back to your breath. The breath is always the anchor into your peace or calmness. Or in the evening, you come home from work. You spend some time with your family. Have your meal perhaps. And then at that time, whatever time it is, never mind if your favorite TV program is on, organize your day so you're not dictated by what's on television. Go to your meditation place, sit quietly for 20 minutes or half an hour. We would say never less than 20 minutes. But don't reach too far either. You have to see what fits your life. You're not a monk or a nun. You have many other things to take care of in your life. So they become part of your Dhamma practice as well. Dhamma practice is the beginning and the middle and the end of a road that takes you to peace and to harmony and to love. So these are just some thoughts about your daily practice. You don't need to sit like this sort of traditional Asian style of sitting. You can have a meditation stool, or you can sit on, of course you can sit on cushions, you can sit in a chair. The most important thing is that you make an effort for this. Falling asleep in meditation is not meditation, it's sleeping. It's not the same thing. Sitting in meditation and thinking, being lost at that moment, there's no meditation. At that moment, there is only being lost in the mind. But the moment you notice that, you just bring your attention back. Just back to your breath. No need to beat yourself up or give yourself a hard time because the mind moves. It moves. The Buddha said it is more difficult to tame a wild animal than it is to train the mind. He's right. And that's everybody's experience. The meditation that the Buddha made was not different from ours. Well, of course not. It's the being sitting with the movements of mind. How could it be different? So we have this practice of the division of the practices is really anapanasati, being with the breath, vipassana bhavana, at the level of bare attention, of experiencing the mind as this endless story happening, that we just see it, we know it, we let go of our identification with it. And then the last part, which if you ever were to sit a retreat with me, you know, this would be emphasized a lot. And it is what's called in Buddhist teaching metta bhavana. Or the English translation is loving kindness. Or a better understanding is love and kindness. Love in this sense means unconditional, unlimited acceptance of the universe as it's manifesting in this moment, without making any conditions that it should be different. There's a lot of peace in that. There's a lot of power in that, where you're not demanding that the world, the universe, and everyone and everything in it please and satisfies you. You're fine. There's not something missing inside you. You have everything you need for full awakening. All you have to do is to make the effort for that. So the loving kindness practice, which I speak about so much because it is so important, that we have vipassana, where we allow the mind to move and show us whatever we're carrying inside, our karma, our bahula karma, our habitual karma. We allow the mind to arise. We see it, not just pleasant things about us, but some of the unpleasant things as well, and some of the truths that we perhaps have denied and avoided facing in our own life. But it's all okay, because whatever thought is arising, something pleasant or something unpleasant, you can always say, this is not me, it's not mine, it's not what I am. But to support that investigation, we have this environment of love. And love is this unconditional acceptance, first of ourselves. That we take the view that as long as I'm not enlightened, or as long as I'm not awakened, I'm going to make mistakes, because that's how life is for everyone. So we have this idea, this notion of love, self-love, self-acceptance, not an indulgence in our anger or our fear or our doubt or our anxiety or stress, not an indulgence, but a recognition. These are things that arise and they come from my old past, from my karma, so I can be with them, but they're not what I am now. They're just things that I'm meeting. So we let go and let go and let go, and if we let go a little, there's a little peace, and if we let go a lot, there's a lot of peace. And if we let go completely, complete peace. Complete peace arising from a mind no longer fighting with itself, but rather a mind in harmony with itself. This is so beautiful. The whole of Dhamma is so beautiful, and more than that, it's so simple. It takes a lot of effort. It's not easy, but it is simple. Let go of the fantasy of who and what you were told you are and that you have come to believe that you are. Recognize this mind arises and passes away. This body arises and passes away. Everything arises and passes away. When the Buddha was dying, he was this old man in India, 2,600 years ago. He was 80, according to the traditional stories, of course. He was 80. Even today, 80 is a good age, I think. Ananda went to visit him. He said, Bhante, all your monks and nuns and lay people are outside. They know you're going to die very soon and they want a final teaching. The Buddha said, Ananda, what more can I say? I have not had the closed fist of some teachers. Now what this means is there's no hidden or secret teaching in Dhamma. There's just this recognition of the mind arises and passes away. That's what you need to understand. The body arises and passes away. True teachers are old age, sickness and death. But to understand those, we have to sit quietly. We have to sit and allow the truth to come to us. So the Buddha said, Ananda, what more can I say? I've not had the closed fist of some teachers. Ananda said, yes, of course I understand. But everyone is here, they want a final teaching. And so the Buddha said, okay. And this old man, close to death now, his body was, his intestines were beginning to deteriorate. I think there was some pain, but no suffering. This is how it's said in the suttas. There was pain, but no suffering. So this old man took his posture and gave his last talk, his last instruction. And he said this is how it's translated into English. Everything that arises passes away and is not what you are. Now work hard to understand this truth, because your liberation lies in understanding this truth, not at the intellectual level. That's a starting point, of course, but formulating views and opinions about intellectual understanding is not useful at all. But to know these truths intuitively. How do we know them intuitively? By doing this simple, this very simple practice that we call vipassana. Vipassana is this collection of these three teachings, or these three practices. Anapanasati vipassana bhavana, metta bhavana. Bhavana is a Buddhist word which means to cultivate something. So vipassana bhavana means, if I express it very simply, it means to cultivate awareness. Not only in your sitting practice, but in your whole life, in everything you're doing, to be aware, to cultivate awareness. Metta bhavana means to cultivate unconditional acceptance, or we say to cultivate love. And we call it love and kindness. Love is our relationship to the moment, to be accepting. And kindness then is our response. Oh, so beautiful. Everything in Dhamma is so beautiful because it's about the liberation of a being so they're no longer struggling or suffering or meeting difficulties in their life. But all of this begins with effort from you, and that effort must pervade your daily life. The Buddha said this teaching is available for all beings. It's called sabbata. It is available for all beings, whether they are sitting, standing, walking, or lying down. It's not determined by special practices. It's just the development of focused mind, which is the anapanasati, the development of an awareness and to recognize the thoughts, moods, feelings, and emotions, and any sensations in the body, of course, and the development of universal, unconditional, absolute acceptance, beginning with yourself, to accept this being that we call self, and then to extend that into the whole universe, to all beings. Beings are the way they are. That's their choice. You are the way you are. So how do you choose to be? So daily practice is very important. Do it, take care with it, but you have to, as a warning note just at the very end here, you have to take care that your practice itself is bringing you better, more loving, caring relationships with your own family, and not to exclude them. You have to find your balance in this, and that's really important. Not to rush home from work, push your wife or your husband out of the way, say, get out of the way, I need to meditate. That's not useful at all. But to do your daily practice, to do it with love, to do it with consistency. So then I offer this short talk for your consideration and your reflection, and may you all be well and happy.